From a punk metal rebel who fought his record label in court to an openly gay country star breaking family tradition, Hank Williams Jr.'s children have lived far from ordinary lives. One tragically died in a mysterious car crash towing a boat. Another literally died twice and came back to life. And the youngest battled his own family in a conservatorship dispute that split them apart. Here's what really happened to Hank Williams Jr.'s children. Hank Williams III, Shelton. Shelton Hank Williams, known professionally as Hank Williams III, or simply Hank III, entered the music industry not by choice but by court order, and his journey became one of the most unconventional stories in country music history. Born in 1972, Shelton spent his early years far removed from the Williams musical legacy, playing drums in punk and metal bands across Arkansas and Nashville while deliberately avoiding any connection to his famous grandfather and father. Everything changed in the mid-1990s when the mother of his 5-year-old son suddenly reappeared with a paternity suit and demands for child support. A family court judge ordered Williams to find more stable employment to meet his financial obligations, and with bills mounting and few options available, Shelton reluctantly turned to the one thing he had been avoiding his entire life: trading on the Williams name for a music career. In 1996, Curb Records signed him to capitalize on his striking resemblance to his grandfather, Hank Williams Sr., and his rich vocal similarities. The label immediately pushed him into a project called Three Hanks, Men with Broken Hearts, which used audio technology to make it appear that 3 generations of Williams men were singing together. While this gave Hank III his first taste of commercial success, and even earned him and his father a Vocal Duo of the Year nomination from the Academy of Country Music in 1997, it represented everything Shelton despised about the music industry's exploitation of his family legacy. What followed was a decade-long battle that would define Hank III's career and reputation. Curb Records wanted to mold him into a traditional country artist, but Shelton had different plans entirely. He began developing what he called hellbilly music, a radical fusion of traditional country with punk rock, heavy metal, and psychobilly influences that horrified Nashville executives. When Curb refused to release his punk-inspired album This Ain't Country in 2003, the conflict escalated into open warfare. Hank III launched his infamous Fuck Curb campaign, openly attacking the label in interviews, on merchandise, and during live performances where he would dedicate entire segments to criticizing the company's business practices. He accused them of holding his career hostage and preventing him from releasing the music he wanted to make. The legal battles stretched on for years, with both sides filing lawsuits and countersuits, while Shelton's artistic output remained largely controlled by contract disputes. Despite the restrictions, Hank III found ways to subvert the system. His live shows became legendary three-set affairs, where he would start with traditional country music to satisfy contractual obligations, then gradually transition into increasingly heavier material, ending with full punk metal performances that left audiences stunned. He released multiple albums under different band names and projects, including the doom rock group Attention Deficit Domination, and the speed metal project Ass Jack, always finding creative ways to work around Curb's limitations. The situation finally resolved in 2005 when a judge ruled in Williams' favor, forcing Curb to release his album, which was reworked and released as Straight to Hell in 2006. This breakthrough album showcased his unique vision and earned critical acclaim for its authentic blend of country storytelling with punk energy and metal intensity. However, just as his artistic freedom seemed secured, Hank III began gradually withdrawing from public life. After releasing several more albums and maintaining a rigorous touring schedule through the early 2010s, he essentially disappeared from the music scene around 2015, leaving fans wondering what happened to one of country music's most innovative and rebellious voices. Holly Williams. Holly Audrey Williams built what seemed like a promising country music career in the early 2000s, releasing critically acclaimed albums and earning comparisons to respected songwriters like John Prine and Bruce Springsteen, but her life took a devastating turn in March 2006 that would forever change her relationship with music and family. While driving with her sister Hillary to their maternal grandfather's funeral in Louisiana, Holly lost control of their vehicle on a rural Mississippi highway, causing it to flip multiple times in what became one of the most traumatic events in the Williams family history. Holly emerged from the wreckage with relatively minor injuries compared to her sister, suffering only a broken wrist and cuts and bruises, but the psychological impact of watching Hillary nearly die and endure years of recovery profoundly affected her. She wrote a song called "Without Jesus Here With Me," and the accident marked the beginning of a long period where Holly stepped back from her musical ambitions to focus on healing and family responsibilities. Born in 1981 in Cullman, Alabama, Holly was the daughter of Hank Williams Jr. and his second wife, Becky White. And she had initially followed a different path than her famous relatives. She didn't pick up a guitar until she was 17 years old, and even then, she seemed uncertain about whether music was truly her calling. Her first two albums, The Ones We Never Knew in 2004 and Here With Me in 2009, were released on major labels but achieved only modest commercial success, leaving many wondering if Holly would commit fully to a music career. Everything changed with her 2013 album, The Highway, which she released on her own label and which many critics considered her breakthrough work. American Songwriter magazine praised it as her most accomplished and mature album, saying even Hank Sr. would be proud, while the New York Times noted that Holly was closer to songwriters like John Prine than to mainstream Nashville. The album featured collaborations with renowned artists including Jackson Browne, Jakob Dylan, and Gwyneth Paltrow, and it seemed to establish Holly as a serious artistic force in her own right. However, just as her music career was gaining momentum, Holly's personal life became increasingly complicated. She married fellow musician Chris Coleman, but their relationship proved turbulent, with Holly later revealing that they had filed for divorce twice during their marriage. She described their union as having a very intense marriage story, and the strain of their relationship coincided with Holly stepping away from music for extended periods. After giving birth to her second child, Lily Mae Louise, in March 2016, and her first son in May 2017, Holly largely disappeared from the music scene to focus on motherhood and her boutique businesses. She operates two successful retail stores in Nashville called White's Mercantile and H. Audrey, and has also become involved in house-flipping projects, channeling her creative energy into entrepreneurship rather than songwriting. The final devastating blow came in June 2020, when Holly's half-sister Katherine died in a car accident, an event that Holly described as leaving the family needing so many prayers. Holly shared the last family photo taken just days before Katherine's death, writing that she had talked the family into taking the picture on Friday morning, with no idea it would be their final moment together with her precious little sister Katie. Hillary Williams. Hillary Williams experienced one of the most extraordinary and terrifying ordeals in the Williams family history, when she literally died twice during a catastrophic car accident in March 2006, only to return with vivid memories of meeting her deceased grandparents in what she described as heaven. Born in 1979 as the daughter of Hank Williams Jr. and his second wife, Becky White, Hillary was 27 years old and pursuing her own music career when she and her sister Holly were driving to their maternal grandfather's funeral in Louisiana on a spring afternoon. The accident occurred on a rural stretch of Route 61 in Mississippi, when their truck's front wheel became caught in deep ruts lining the gravel road, causing the vehicle to flip over multiple times and crushing Hillary's body beneath twisted steel. When emergency responders finally used the jaws of life to extract her from the wreckage after nearly 30 minutes, Hillary had suffered devastating injuries, including 2 broken legs, several broken ribs, a ruptured colon, bruised lungs, and fractures to her back, collarbone, tailbone, pelvis, and right femur, with her hips completely crushed and massive blood loss threatening her life. As paramedics worked desperately to stabilize her in the muddy Mississippi field, Hillary's heart stopped, and she was pronounced dead at the scene. During this first death, she later recounted experiencing an extraordinary vision where she found herself in heaven, meeting her grandfather Hank Williams and grandmother Audrey Williams, who appeared young and smiling as they gave her a big hug. She also saw other family members and friends in this peaceful place before suddenly returning to consciousness and waking up back in her broken body. Hillary was airlifted to a hospital in Memphis, where doctors began the first of what would eventually become 23 surgeries over the following years. On the 3rd day after the accident, during hip surgery to repair her crushed pelvis, Hillary suffered a blood clot that caused her to flatline a second time. But again, she survived and was pulled back to life, though the medical team was unsure about the extent of brain damage or her chances for recovery. The next 5 years became a grueling journey of rehabilitation and reconstruction, as Hillary slowly learned to walk again while dealing with constant pain and the psychological trauma of her experience. At one particularly low point during her recovery, she stayed awake most of the night because her sock had come off and her foot was cold. But she couldn't get out of bed to pick up the sock and put it back on, illustrating the complete helplessness she faced during those darkest months. 5 months after the accident, while still bedridden at her mother's house and heavily medicated with painkillers, Hillary began channeling her experience into music when a friend encouraged her to start writing. Working with songwriter Blue Sanders, she wrote a song called "Sign of Life" in just 30 minutes, with the title inspired by her doctor's remark that pain is a sign of life during her recovery process. This song became the foundation for both her return to music and eventually a memoir also titled "Sign of Life," which she co-wrote with M.B. Roberts and published to help inspire others facing traumatic injuries. In the book, Hillary detailed not only her near-death experiences and the long rehabilitation process, but also provided insights into growing up as part of country music's most famous family, sharing stories about her father, grandfather, and the unique challenges of carrying the Williams legacy while forging her own path as a singer and survivor. Katherine Williams Dunning. Katherine Diane Williams Dunning made the deliberate choice to live away from the spotlight that defined her famous family, becoming the only one of Hank Williams Jr.'s 5 children to completely reject a career in music. But her pursuit of a normal life ended tragically on June 13, 2020, when she died in a mysterious single-car accident that left investigators and family members searching for answers. Born on October 21, 1992, Katherine was the daughter of Hank Jr. and his 3rd wife, Mary Jane Thomas. And she grew up watching her siblings, Holly, Hillary, Sam, and half-brother Hank III, all follow various paths in the music industry, while she chose an entirely different direction. Unlike her musically gifted relatives, Katherine found her passion in entrepreneurship and family life, running a graphic t-shirt company called Weston Jane that celebrated women and mothers with designs focused on building up other moms and spreading messages of peace and kindness. She had married Tyler Dunning in October 2015, and together they were raising 2 young children, 5-year-old son Bo Weston and 2-year-old daughter Audrey Jane, in what appeared to be the stable, ordinary family life that Katherine had always wanted. The events leading up to her death began with another family tragedy when the Williams family attended Katherine's great-aunt's funeral on Thursday, June 11, 2020. Just 2 days later, on Friday morning, June 12, Katherine's sister Holly convinced the family to pose for what would become their final photograph together, with Holly later writing that she had no idea it would be their last moment with her precious little sister Katie. On Saturday evening, June 13th, at approximately 7:44 p.m., Katherine was driving her 2007 Chevrolet Tahoe southbound on Highway 79 in Henry County, Tennessee, about 100 miles west of Nashville, while towing a boat behind the vehicle. Her husband Tyler was in the passenger seat as they traveled along the rural highway near Antioch Road when something went catastrophically wrong. According to the Tennessee Highway Patrol, Katherine's vehicle suddenly crossed the median, dividing the highway, and began what investigators described as a rollover sequence, with the Tahoe and boat trailer flipping multiple times before crossing through the northbound lanes and finally coming to rest on the shoulder of the roadway. The accident involved no other vehicles, leaving authorities to investigate what could have caused Katherine to lose control of her vehicle on what appeared to be a routine evening drive. Katherine was pronounced dead at the scene, while Tyler was airlifted to Vanderbilt University Medical Center in critical condition. Family members later confirmed that Tyler was awake and responding at the hospital, though the full extent of his injuries remained unclear in the immediate aftermath of the crash. The timing of Katherine's death struck the Williams family with particular cruelty, coming just days after they had gathered to mourn another beloved family member and creating a devastating scenario where they found themselves planning a second funeral within the same week. Katherine's brother Sam later posted on social media asking for prayers for his sister and brother-in-law, while Holly shared the heartbreaking family photo taken just one day before the accident, writing that all they needed were prayers for everyone affected by the tragedy. A memorial service was held at Henry County High School's football stadium, Katherine's alma mater, where hundreds of people gathered to remember her life and the impact she had made in her 27 years. Sam Williams. Samuel Weston Williams made history in October 2022 when he became the first openly gay member of the Williams dynasty, but his personal revelation came during one of the most turbulent periods of his life, as he simultaneously fought a highly publicized legal battle against his own father and sister, who had placed him under a controversial conservatorship. Born on May 30, 1997, Sam was the youngest child of Hank Williams Jr. and Mary Jane Thomas, and unlike his siblings who initially avoided the music industry, he embraced his family's musical legacy while pursuing his own unique artistic vision that blended country with modern influences. Sam's troubles began in the aftermath of his sister Katherine's tragic death in June 2020, an event that devastated the entire Williams family and appeared to trigger concerns about his mental state and decision-making abilities. Just 55 days after Katherine's funeral, Sam's father Hank Jr. and his sister Holly Williams took the extraordinary step of placing him under a legal conservatorship, hiring attorneys to take control over his finances and other aspects of his personal life. The conservatorship arrangement remained private until February 2, 2022, when Sam shocked his followers by posting a series of tweets at 10:13 p.m. that simply read, "I am in a conservatorship," across 4 separate messages, directly tagging his famous father in the posts. He followed these cryptic tweets with links to a YouTube video where he appeared holding up a handwritten sign reading, "I want out," while explaining his situation to the camera. In the video, Sam stated that he had been quiet for a long time, but wanted people to know about his circumstances, saying he did not deserve the restrictions that had been placed on his life. He expressed shame about his family's actions and embarrassment over the public nature of his plea for freedom, writing in the video's caption that he had worked his broken heart to quit since his dear Katie left for home, referring to his sister Katherine's death as the catalyst for his family's intervention. The conservatorship controversy coincided with Sam's decision to come out publicly as gay, a revelation he made through his music video for the song Tilted Crown in late 2022. During an interview on Apple Music's Proud Radio, Sam explained that he had been promoting invisibility by not being open about his sexuality, and saw the music video as the perfect opportunity to show who he truly was. He revealed that the first person he had told about being gay was his sister Katherine, sharing this deeply personal secret with her while they were four-wheeling in Alabama just a few months before her death. Sam described Katherine's reaction as emotional, saying she could see the pain he had been experiencing from hiding his true identity and had no idea about his internal struggles. The timing of these revelations, coming after Katherine's death and during his legal battle with his family, highlighted the complex web of grief, identity, and family dynamics that were playing out in the public eye. Throughout 2023 and into 2024, Sam continued his music career while the conservatorship situation remained unresolved, with his management team confirming that he was hanging in there during these crazy times, but providing no updates on his legal status or relationship with his father and sister Holly.